right, welcome to Jeff Heggie Daily Success Strategies. I'm excited today to have Shawn Camacho with me. We met a while back. He is doing some amazing things here in Arizona in real estate, and we had an opportunity to sit down and talk about his journey a bit. And so I asked him to be on the show and share some of that with us because, right now in the real estate industry, we always watch the highs and lows. And you've got to have that entrepreneurial spirit to really know how you're going to navigate through these waters and help your clients through all that. And so I wanted to get Shawn on here with me to help, talk about some of that story and some of the cool things he's done and that he is doing, and just really talk about his entrepreneurial journey. So welcome, Shawn. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hey, awesome. Thank you. And hope I can add some golden nuggets today to your community. And I'm thankful for your example. We met a while back, and I've been able to follow some of your business and coaching and stuff. And I think you're impacting a lot of people. So when you asked me to be on the podcast, I was like, yeah, because you probably have a great community. And if I can give back, and my saying, where's it at? Oh, it's right here. Spread the sugar. So that's what that whole saying is just pay it forward, spread the sugar, and you never know when you might be able to drop a golden nugget for somebody or another business owner. All of us are in the trenches, and we're all looking to make our businesses better, more efficient, service our product better or our customers better. And the best way is to mastermind and brainstorm with other people. And that's what I've learned a lot. Is when somebody like you, Jeff, you reached out to me, I took the opportunity to meet with you because you never know. Like, I can learn from you, you can learn from me, and sometimes as entrepreneurs, we're stuck in our little dungeon, and we're focusing on, got the eye on the prize, and sometimes you need to brainstorm and mastermind with other great business minds. So. But to take you back, I've always been a math guy, a number guy, taking it back to my childhood. I would say I always liked math. I wasn't a science guy or English guy. For some reason, I love math. My mom was an accountant, so maybe she had a little bit of impact on me. She taught me how to budget and how to organize a checkbook. And so I've always loved math and banking. And I'm trying to go back, like thinking of some of my first few jobs. I've always been in like customer service roles, service industry. You could say it's sales. I've always been involved in customer service where you were either selling a product or helping a customer solve a problem. And I think what caught on to me was I saw the opportunity and the satisfaction I got out of helping people. I'm thinking of my first job. I don't know if a lot of people know about this company, but it was called Circuit City. Circuit City. That was like I would say my real first official job. Not counseling at the YMCA or the Boys and Girls Club or fast food or something, but I would say Circuit City, which was like a Best Buy, or electronic store. And that's when I really got my first true experience of customer service and how important it was to help somebody come in that wanted an item and then make sure it answered what their needs were from a electronic or technology situation, and then make sure that the product did its job. So that was my first true job. And then I was going to college at the time, and I was sitting in my economics class, and this is where I fell in love with real estate. I was sitting in my economics class, and the professor was going over supply and demand. And he was kind of challenging us to think in the future. What are some businesses you want to run, or what are some jobs you want to have? And he said, I challenge you to think of a product or a service or an industry that has good supply and demand. And so I'm sitting there in the auditorium of 100 students, and I'm like, I just started going through options, and I'm like, well, people need cars, And so I started going through products that people needed on a daily basis. And I was like, well, I'm not a car guy, and I don't know if I want to sell cars. But going back, I should have been thinking differently. I should have been thinking, how can I own a car dealership? Not I don't want to sell cars. I should have been thinking, if I had today's knowledge back at 20 years old, I should have been challenging myself, oh, how do I own a dealership, or versus being the front line or whatever. But so I started going through, people need cars, people need food, people need appliances, and then then the light bulb went off, and I was like, well, this next one is what's it called, indestructible. I was like, everybody needs a place to live. And so that was like my first aha real estate moment that got me to go down that path. And I just started, then for the next year, I just started putting energy and effort and started studying real estate. I can remember a most of us know this quote, but a Dale Carnegie quote, how like most millionaires, at some point real estate helped them. And so I saw that quote when I was doing studying in that year after that economics class, and I saw that quote, and that really inspired me. And so to give you a timeline, that's like 2002, 2003. And in Arizona, the real estate market started to catch fire in the early 2000s. So I'm like 20, I think I'm, in my early 20s. I'm 42 now, so I'm in my early 20s at this time. And that's when I started hearing people say, like, you should buy a house. And I started learning about real estate or investing in real estate. So I bought my first house around 2003, 2004. And that was like my first big investment. And I saw what it did for me. And then that's when I was like, you know what? I want to be a real estate agent. So those are like my couple epiphanies when it comes to why I got into real estate. And then I got my real estate license, and I was actually showing homes, and a VP of sales met me at an open house, or I was showing homes, but he was a VP of sales at a home builder. Okay. So most of us know these home builders, they build the communities with the model offices and the sales office. And he's like, you need to come over and be a new home salesperson. You would be phenomenal. You're a nice guy. You're honest. You're a good communicator. And I was like, what do I got to lose? And I was still studying real estate, and I just bought my first house, and I was falling in love with like just how one day you're not qualified, but the next day connecting the dots, and now you can buy a house. Like I like that puzzle of the process. And so I went and did new home sales for about 4 or 5 years, from like 2003, and then all the way to like 2009, when 8, 9, 10 was when you had the crash. And then I tried to tough it out with the builder, but the builder went out of business. And then that's when I switched over to resale, was like 2010, 2011, switched over to resale. And I took my shot and my chance at becoming a realtor, basically, where I'm helping, friends and family and homeowners sell and buy real estate. So I've been doing that for the last 12 years and haven't looked back.
Awesome.
Hey, some of you may know this, but in addition to my coaching, I've recently joined Geneva Financial Home Loans, a mortgage lender headquartered in Chandler, Arizona, as a mortgage loan originator. I've always had a passion for serving others, and now I'm proud to also be a part of Home Loans Powered by Humans. If you're in the state of Arizona and looking to take the next step in your journey, contact me at 801-830-3858 to start the conversation. NMLS number 42056, BK number 0910215, equal opportunity lender.
You've got your background and experience in it is really great for the dynamics of people that listen to this are everyone from someone that's wanting to be an entrepreneur to someone that's been a long time entrepreneur. So I'd love to dig into a few of these things you've talked about a little bit more, because one of the things you talked about right at the beginning that kind of got you interested was the fact that, real estate is one of the assets a lot of people use in creating their wealth. And, you look at a lot of successful entrepreneurs, they are in real estate. Or you look at a lot of successful entrepreneurs, they build a successful business or product or whatever, and then they get into real estate. So talk about why it is such a great entrepreneurial journey to get into real estate. That it was one of my first entrepreneurial journeys, was buying some townhouses, buying a mini storage facility, buying some apartments and stuff like that. I'm a strong believer in that. I think real estate is a great entrepreneurial journey and a great way to add into a portfolio. So talk about real estate as an investment.
Yeah. So when I was studying, there's two sides of real estate. There's the service side, which is what realtors do, where we help people invest in real estate and help and sell and buy real estate. So I was studying that avenue, but at the same time, I was studying what have the wealthy done with real estate. And that's when I came across that Dale Carnegie quote, and it just really sunk in that. And so then I started studying wealthy people, and I'm like, okay, if you study their timeline or their growth, almost 9 out of 10 people, real estate was like a stepping stone to help them buy a business. So the capital they earned from their real estate investments helped them give the capital to buy, whether it be equipment, machines, warehouses, branding. So that started intriguing me. And I've always been a great learner of studying people and how did real estate kind of catapult them. Most people, their growth goes like this. It's steady, steady, steady. And then they have an event that like catapults them. And I studied many successful wealthy people, and the common thing was they used their real estate to catapult their business, whether it was to merge their business or go buy out a business that was already streamlined. So that's where I started thinking differently. And that's why I love real estate, is because not only is it a vehicle to help families build wealth and help them move up in life and create assets for their family legacy, but I started to see many business owners, that's how they got their foot in the door, was their real estate vehicle or their real estate assets gave them the capital. And when that opportunity fell in their lap to buy a plumbing business, a catering business, a cookie shop, a bakery, whatever, they were able to use their real estate capital to take advantage of that opportunity versus having it be money that was gifted to them or handed down to them, or them laboring for 20 years to save up money to buy a business. Real estate was the common vehicle that I saw, the common factor that helped people take advantage of, whether it was a business opportunity or a personal opportunity to get. And I just learned one on another podcast. I'm a constant learner, constant studying people. And I don't know if it's true. I don't know the accuracy behind it, but the owner of the Lakers, Magic Johnson, was being interviewed, and Magic Johnson said that the owner of the Lakers owned real estate, and the owner of the Lakers used his real estate money to buy the Lakers, like back in the day. And so it's like examples like that just like get me excited, to get me thinking differently. But can you rephrase the question, Jeff? I want to make sure I'm answering it, or
yeah, you are. Just looking at it as just like that, it's really a stepping stone for someone to accelerate their portfolio, or you see, like we're saying, a lot of successful entrepreneurs that they add it because it is such a good investment to be making for long term. And just any of your thoughts around that. And I guess one of the things, because like I said, I've got listeners from young guys that are wanting to be entrepreneurs, wanting to start their investment journey, and those that are well established. What are some of the things you look at and you educate people on when you're dealing with investors who are looking to buy? Because I remember when I bought my first rental properties, I bought some townhouses that I paid $55,000 a door, and I thought that was astronomical at the time. Well, if I could buy 10,000 of them at 55,000 a door right now, I'd be happy, because they're not making any more land. And so talk about the return on investment just through appreciation and those sort of things too.
Yeah, one thing for new entrepreneurs, but also I think it's important for veterans, people who have been entrepreneurs for a while. You got to constantly challenge yourself to think differently. Sometimes when I do this to myself, when you've either had success or no success, you're either thinking too small or short. You're thinking short term versus long term. So for the new entrepreneur, you're trying to gain momentum, and it is compound interest, and you do got to think, you do need to have results short term, but you got to remember at some point your compound interest is going to pay off. And I'm a big believer, like, people just end up quitting too early. It's like that old common where the guy's digging for gold and he quits like 2 swings early, and the gold's like on the other side of the like one inch of mud. And I see that with so many people. Like, a lot of my friends are small business owners, and they'll run at it for about a year, but for some reason, in my experience, it's like 18 months to 2 years. And take it to a franchise model. Most franchises don't break even until 2 years, but then they catapult. So it's like, where I'm going with this is challenge yourself to yes, think short term, but you got to remind yourself to think long term, that your hard work, it's like building bricks. It's going to pay off. It's got to pay off at some point, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. And you have to challenge yourself to be willing to have that discipline to tough it out. And we're all human. We all have our days where we're like, man, am I even making any progress? But that's human nature. And I can tell you, I'm going to take it back. So about 8 years ago, I did open houses every weekend for a year straight. Every Saturday, Sunday for a year straight. And I told myself, Shawn, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. But that's how I built momentum. Like I told myself, there's no way you could not be successful if you commit to this for 1 year. And that first year, I only sold like 6 houses. The next year, I sold like 18. And then I just kept doubling from there. But if I would have given up, I would never got to year 5 where I did like 60 houses. Right. And now I'm in like year 15. And for the last 5 years, I've got my business down and my system down to where last 5 years I've done 75 plus. I've been going from like 75 to 90 families, helping 75 to 90 families. The goal, I haven't changed my goal. My goal for like 5 years been 100. I've wanted to help 100 families in 1 year, and I've gotten close. I've gotten to like 92. And so if you're a new entrepreneur, keep getting around guys like Jeff. I mean, guys like Jeff and me and other people that you're learning from. I see it as an opportunity where you could shave 5 years off of your trajectory. You could shave 10 years off your trajectory of your business. I was just talking to a buddy the other day. He's like a client / buddy. He's 25 And he's like, Shawn, what advice do you have for me? And I said, Matt, if I wish I had somebody tell me this, I would buy one home a year from the age of 25 to 35. I said, I wish I had somebody tell me that. So I'm telling you, Matt, you should buy one house a year from 25 to 35. And in 10, when you're at 35, you're going to have so many options. And I said, I wish I had that, because I'm 42, and my goal is by 45 is to have 10 properties free and clear. And I said, you have a chance to do what I'm doing. You have a chance to do it a whole decade earlier. So that's where I'm going with this is, whether you're a veteran entrepreneur or a seasoned entrepreneur or a new entrepreneur, keep learning, keep thinking short term but long term, and keep reminding yourself that the dam's going to break at some point. The water's going to break. You gotta know that it's going to pay off at some point, and you need to choose whether it's going to be 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years. And then we're back to real estate. I work with investment clients, and yes, they want instant gratification, but what I've learned from my investor clients is they run their real estate like an entrepreneur. And what I mean by that is they're looking for short-term victories, but they're also looking for long-term victories. And if they can't manage it long-term, or if they can't stick it out long-term or tough it out long-term, kind of with the 3-year, 5-year, 7-year, 10-year trajectory that we're talking about, they don't invest in it. And that's another thing I don't think a lot of entrepreneurs, it's hard for you to learn how to say no. It's okay to say no. You don't have to
Right.
You don't have to say yes to 12 different shiny objects.
Oh, that's awesome. And something you're kind of alluding to that is perfect to transition to the next thing I wanted to ask you. And it's something that you talked about in the introduction too. Talk about, you're just talking about Matt, and talk about proximity is power, the importance of the people you spend time with, that you surround yourself with, and how that has influenced you in your journey.
Yeah, so now that I'm getting older, my mindset on time has changed so much. Because now I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner. So what I've learned as you get older, I have a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. I run a business. I have investment properties that I manage myself. I'm a husband, obviously, and so like I've learned as you get older, you have time management is so key. When you're younger, you feel like you have endless time, but you kind of don't, because of compound interest. And if you're a young entrepreneur, I would challenge yourself to really protect your time, invest your time. I can get a little critical, like overcritical. It's a strength of mine, but it's a weakness of mine, where like, if I have an option of wasting an hour or being productive for an hour, I won't waste an hour. Because an hour is I try to maximize my hours, and I've learned that about time. Instead of taking 6 hours to do something and just kind of going with the flow, I would rather be intense and maximize 2 hours. So then that opens up 4 hours for my kids, my wife, family stuff. So that's my relationship with time has definitely changed. And as I'm getting older, I'm realizing how important time is, not only from a personal lifestyle, but also as a business owner. Because I think a lot of us are guilty. I'm guilty of it. When you're trying to get that momentum, you're spending a lot of work hours, and so if you can be very intentional, that's the word, be intentional with your time management, And a lot of us, we learn, oh, you got to work hard. You got to work hard. You got to work 14 hours a day. You got to work 12, you got to work 12 hours a day. That's something I'm learning about, maximizing my time. You can be way more productive if you maximize 2 hours versus working for like 14 hours. And you get to a point where, yeah, you might have a 14-hour day, but you're doing stuff you love. Like this is an hour of my day today, but I love doing this. I'm, rubbing shoulders, knee to knee with Jeff. I'm paying it forward. So yeah, you might still have those 12-hour days or 14-hour days, but it won't feel like you were digging a hole for 14 hours. So.
Right. Awesome. No, there's a lot of nuggets in here that are really valuable to be sharing. So thank you for that. So I will include everything in the show notes, and I'll actually have it up on my blog as well. But if someone wants to follow your journey, if someone wants to contact you, or if someone here in Arizona wants to talk to you about real estate, how do people find you?
Yeah, thanks. I am pretty good online with my YouTube and my social media profiles. So if you Google Shawn Camacho, Arizona, my YouTube should pop up. Or if you look me up on Facebook, Shawn Camacho under Facebook. On Instagram, it's Shawn Camacho Real Estate Guru. That's something I kind of branded myself as the real estate guru. And I'm glad you bring that up. You have to believe in yourself. It's so important. Like you have to identify. Something I learned from another coach and mentor that I was learning from. You're not starting a business. You are a business, and that's as I started thinking differently. I started thinking, okay, Shawn Camacho is a business. That's how I came up with the real estate guru, because it's in today branding, the old phrase always be closing. I learned about that. The new phrase is always be branding. And that's a phrase I constantly remind myself, always be branding. And if you're always thinking, okay, how can I brand myself? It takes you to that next thought. You, Shawn, or John, or Bobby, or Sally, or Jill, or Kelly, you are a business. You're not starting a business. And I think just that twist, a lot of people forget that. They're like, oh, I'm going to go start a business. But they forget that they are the business. No matter what industry you're in, you are a business. And you need to start from there. Then you go start your business on whatever product or service or type of business you're trying to create. So
that's awesome. And you're so right, because working as a realtor, it's definitely impacted this way. But every business, their clientele go through a buyer's journey, and it's only a small percentage of them that are ready to buy right now, that are now buyers. And when they become now buyers, how are you going to make them come to you? You've got to have that brand. And you're doing very well at that. Your brand is growing, and it's very well known. So when people say, you know what, I'm looking at buying, I'm looking at selling, they've got to have someone in mind that they're going to talk to. And so that's so important to build that brand, like you're saying. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's really valuable.
And that's what I learned about, was why branding was so important, is because most people I come across, they know 3 to 5 realtors, and I want my name to pop in that 5.
Right.
And so that's what got me reminding myself, you are the business, and Shawn needs to pop up in those top 5. And then you take it to a business level, and then that's when you start investing money in advertising, taking coaching, all that stuff. So
absolutely. No, that's huge. That's really valuable. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Well, Shawn, this has been awesome. And like I said, I will make sure for anyone that's listening, if you're driving or whatever, don't worry about it. The links and contacts and everything will be in the show notes so that you can make sure to connect with Shawn. He's a brilliant guy, brilliant realtor, doing some great things here in Arizona. So thank you again, Shawn. Appreciate everything you've shared with us today, and good luck with all you're doing.
You too, Jeff. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, if I can be a resource, personal, business, real estate, I always like to pay it forward and spread the sugar. And any of your clients or your community, feel free to reach out.
Are you an entrepreneur who wants to discover the breakthrough secrets that will produce the results you've been searching for, but you just can't seem to figure out why you keep working harder and harder and you're just not getting those results? I want to tell you about a new challenge that I've created just for you, the Business Domination Challenge. If you want to create the entrepreneurial lifestyle and the business you dream of, then this is exactly what you're looking for. I created the Business Domination Challenge to show you how to grow your business exponentially and to become an optimal performing entrepreneur. What's an optimal performing entrepreneur? It's an entrepreneur who's succeeding in all areas of their life. If I show you how to build a successful business, but your relationships, your health, and everything else is falling apart, that's not a success. It's not about working harder, it's about implementing the correct principles and becoming the person who can do the things that produce the results. Hurry and go to jeffheggie.com/business domination and secure your spot today.
Hey, athletes and parents of athletes. So much time, money, and effort is put into the physical aspect of your sport to become the best you can be. But the mental game, it's often neglected, and it's just as important as the physical game. In fact, it's usually the differentiator between the good and the great athletes. Come and join me in the Confident Athlete program where you'll learn to control your confidence, develop a powerful mindset, and unlock your full potential. Go to jeffheggie.com/confident athlete to find out more.